Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. Today I'm gonna get back to work on a piece that I started last year as part of a series. It's a Gryphon series where each one is representative of a month of the year. So this one is the February Gryphon, which I started last year, but it's appropriate since tomorrow is the start of February. These are my thumbnail sketches I did for it, and working out the composition here. I'm just going to keep this to the side so I remember what I'm trying to do. This is the border, and I'm using the same template that I made for the January Gryphon that I already completed last year, and I'm just switching it so that it has symbolism for February. So we've got hearts, and these stylized lines are either representative or inspired by, I guess, both the veins and arteries that connect to the heart. And so I need to finish this. I'm going to use Photoshop to copy this down to here and then copy this over to this side, but I still need to do this part so that I can copy it over here, and then I need to do this part so that I can copy it over here. So that's something that I might work on today, but something that I've really been putting off all this time because it's kind of overwhelming a task. This is the main final sketch, and I've got the Gryphon done. It's an American robin with an American red squirrel, and I can't remember, I've got it in my notes, but this is a birth flower of January that comes from this region where I live. So I'm trying to pick all elements that exist in the northwest of the United States. But I need to do, so I can show you on the sketch, I need to do the background and the environment that the Gryphon is in, and it's just a huge task, and I kept putting it off, and that's why I hadn't gotten it done last year. I have to do the nest. This Gryphon is building its nest, so it's like built it all and now it's just decorating it with flowers. And then on top of that, I want to have a Celtic birth tree of February, and it was some sort of pine, so I've got reference images for that. But I thought today if I could just get the nest done, and then tomorrow or another day I can add in the pine and then work on the border. But the nest is the biggest thing that's just holding me back, because I have reference images for nests and they're extremely complicated things. Like they're, you know, just little tiny pieces of grass woven, and it's just hundreds or thousands of pieces, strands, and so I just kept putting it off and putting it off. But I'm gonna try and do it today and to see what I can do. I'm gonna at least attempt it. If I just get something on the page, then I can continue on from there. So I actually have two reference images. One is from the side of a nest, and the other one is kind of looking down. I think it might even be the same nest. So I think where I should start is just getting the border. The way I have the sketch, let's see, I'm comparing my final sketch to my little sketch on the other page. So it looks like my sketch on the other page has a little more room. I guess I measured slightly off. This portion is slightly bigger, so there won't be as much nest. So actually that's great. I don't have to draw as much nest. But the edge, I have it coming around here. Basically I'm checking if there's anything covering the Gryphon. And it looks like I did cover a little bit of the tail, which I think is good because then it shows that the Gryphon is in the nest. It gives the nest some depth, so it won't look flat, hopefully. So these robin nests that I'm looking at, I looked up nests of the actual bird part of the Gryphon so that they would hopefully look a bit more realistic, not just any old nest. And it looks like they don't use a lot of different materials. It's mostly sticks and dried grass, it seems like. I'm just gonna start with some long lines. The overall shape of nests is circular, but the sticks and stuff don't get bent that much. They're still mostly straight. Okay, there's start. The stick keep going past the tail. On the top edge of the bowl, we'll say the bowl of the nest, have it coming behind the Gryphon, almost following the line of the Gryphon and only really coming out here. Draw some more sticks. Line's meant to be representative of sticks. Alright, sweet. Now, I'm gonna erase the tail where it's being covered up by the nest. There, that already makes it look like it's inside of something. Okay, where do I go next? I guess I shouldn't do too many lines. I shouldn't try to draw each individual stick, because if there's tons and tons of lines, then when you step back, it'll just make this area look really complicated and busy and darker. I don't want it to take away from the focal point, which is the Gryphon. Need some of these sticks to come back. In this reference photo, they come way back. And they're all overlapping. Because the sticks, again, are not very curved themselves. It's just the way they're put together that gives the nest its curved shape. This one should actually come over the top of this one, otherwise this stick's just sort of sticking out on top. They've got to interweave, they need to overlap to look like they're part of a structure. I'm going to start adding more sticks to start overlapping with other sticks. So it looks like each of these sticks is holding each other in and being held in by other sticks. Where the nest comes up like this, you can't see nearly as many, it's pretty thin. This is kind of like making a Celtic knot, but much less structured. Maybe that's where Celtic knots got their inspiration from. The natural weaving of other animals. Maybe that's how we figured out how to tie knots in general, as humanity, as a human species. Just letting that stick end right there stick out. I wonder if I should just go ahead and draw the whole nest, even though I'll have to erase a lot of it in these corners where I want to show the pine needles. Or if I should just kind of avoid these two blocks. So in my sketch I have pine needles coming out here, a little bit here, and all the way from here down here on the front. And then I have some in the top behind the nest too. And then of course the border is gonna be cutting off a lot of stuff too, because I don't know if you can even see this, but I can see through the paper. Yeah, it's gonna be cutting off a huge portion of these squares in the corner. Since I didn't make a square border, I made it a curved border. I thought that would be more interesting, but it's had its own sort of problems. I think it is more interesting, that's why I'm sticking with it, but yeah, it cuts off a lot of space. So yeah, I won't draw much of the nest in these corners. It's cutting off like half of each. It's like cutting through here and here. So you won't even see the pine needles here. I might have to just focus on the pine needles being in the back. The border cuts off around here. I'm gonna measure something. One of these all to be 9 by 12. And this reference is, but the border cuts off like 1/4 of an inch at the top and the bottom and on the sides, which is fine, since that means if you frame a 9 by 12 copy of this, then the border won't get cut off since there's that extra space. Guess that means there's just not as much nest for me to draw as I was so worried about. There's just so much blank space. Every time I looked at it, it was like, ugh. Okay, I'm just going to keep working. I'll make it more detailed up here around the top. And as I come down here, it's probably going to get covered up by pine needles or by the border. It's already looking nest-like, I think. Some more coming down here. want this intersection to become too busy. I think I'm just gonna let that kind of disappear back behind these. Let's see. If I look at my other reference, it will give me some more ideas. Yeah, maybe with this angle, I won't even draw very much. In my sketch, I drew a really high top line for the nest, for the back. But in order to make sure that the pine shows, because of the border cutting off a lot of stuff in the corners, I think maybe I should just have pine coming down and covering what would be the top rim of the nest. Yeah, this is starting to look really nest-like. I'm getting happy. I don't want to get as complicated as an actual nest. So I don't want to bring the attention away from the bird, from the whole Gryphon. Just gotta make sure not to do too much. Keep looking at it, making sure it's not looking too complicated. Like, I think this part right here, I think that's good. I'm gonna leave that. Just gonna start filling in more these other areas. No, I'm gonna keep this in here actually. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting a little too... Okay, leave that alone now. Leave that part alone. That's good, that's good. Let's move on, move on. Yeah, that looks good, that looks good. Yay, it's looking like a nest. I'm so happy. Now that I'm doing it, it doesn't seem as, it's just a bunch of lines, but figuring out where to start is so much harder than it should be. But once we've got those basic structure lines, then you just keep adding in. Yay! Yes, yes, it's looking good. Happy. No, I want that to curve in more. Makes it look too square. Yes, I think the bottom part is good. I think it looks really nest-like. It looks like a basket, but not like a human woven basket, or I guess it might look like a poorly woven one. Gotta keep my lines clean so that I know what the heck I'm drawing when I trace this to the final sheet of paper. Let this one end off up in the air too. Another one. What's this one doing? This side needs to come back behind. Back behind the Gryphon. It's getting kind of convoluted over here, but I want to give the impression that it's curving around. Because it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be curving around the back of the Gryphon. There. I think that's good enough. But maybe I will have this stick end under this one. The way it's going straight up, kind of. It's like, where is it going? It's right at the top, but don't see where it ends. There. And you can just imagine it ends behind those. Okay. Okay. This one stick up too. Let's see something. Following the same curve as this, I think I actually need to make this come up here, this side. Side of the nest, even though I just called it done. But these birds make really nice symmetrical round nests. Have this stick come up here too and be above the tail, outside the tail. That's good, I think. Yeah, so much more symmetrical looking. I guess I should leave this as the inside part of the nest. Although this is all the outside and it's a lot closer. Yeah, I'll bring it in a bit. Just a bit. And it's all one structure in the end. But I wanted to do the inside with a little less detail than the outside, because it will really start conflict with the, just like the bird wings alone are just so detailed. This project taught me that birds' anatomy is so complicated. I did not realize wings are just amazing structures. Kind of make humans look simple. The way we're built is just like, oh, let's stick a couple arms on there. We're just like straight tubes for arms and legs. And birds have these wings that have so many layers and so many different types of feathers, and it's really impressive when you really start to look at them and try to draw them from reality. I hope too much of this doesn't get cut off by the border. I'll look at it again. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter too much though. It's better to leave more space around the head. The head's more important than the tail. The tail can be right up next to the edge of the nest. This one's still bugging me. I'm gonna have it stick up. Stick up over the tail. Just bugs me. I'm gonna look at it straight on. See how that looks. Yeah, I think that's good. It's giving the Gryphon a nice frame, or at least it's continuing the circle that the Gryphon's body makes. And that's the point, because the Gryphon's making this shape because it's in a nest. Okay, well, I need to go to my other reference image to see the inside of a nest better. See it better than this other one. Yeah, I really don't want to put too many lines in here. Maybe I'll just... Maybe I don't want to do hard lines for the inside. Instead, I can, once I switch over to the Inktense pencils, which I'm using for coloring, I'll just do pencil strokes with the color and then do a wash over it, and then it will look softer. But I think now I need to get on one of my... I didn't think this would take so little time. I need to go look up one of my pine needle references so I can see that. Okay, let's see if that loaded. Looks like it did. Or why is it Bob Ross style? I'm going to start with the pine sticks. This little part of the branch. It's not the needles yet. It's a super thin part that holds the needles. And then the needles grow out even up here. They'll just look like sticks. Once I add color, it'll look like needles. It doesn't really look like anything yet. It just looks like a bunch of lines. Interestingly, this side on this reference image has these little spikes. It doesn't have needles all along. Yeah, little tiny spikes. But then these sticks that branch off don't start having needles for a little bit. Although off of the back side of this upper branch, these come down behind. Okay, these grow out and up. I'm gonna keep my lines straight so I know what is what. What is coming out in front of... Let's see. This one has needles growing right out of the top. That's good because it makes it look more 3D. Okay, I want to make it clear that this is not a needle. This is this stick. Right at the end, it kind of gets like a bulb shape, and then more needles are even coming out of the final part of the stick. This is western white pine, so the needles are quite long. It's getting kind of hard to see which stick is which needle is which. Okay, I'm going to move on to this one for a bit. I think I'm going to have to do the same thing with this as I did with the nest, which is get some basic ones in there and then just start adding in so that it looks nice and not rely on the reference as much. There's another one that's growing right out of the side. It seems like each of these needles come in a pair. For every one that is going in a direction, I notice another one going in the same direction, seeming to come from the same origin. Here in this part of the reference, it's got this one coming from completely off camera, from an upper branch, like that. And here's like its matching one. Getting there. It's getting hard to keep straight what is the stick and what is the needles. I think I need to draw more background ones. These ones that are just coming straight down like this. Yay, that's looking good. Just need to fill in a little bit more. Like, what should I do here? Draw some like this. It's looking good. It's still not looking as like these needles are just thick. There's just tons of them. I need more needles. This one's looking kind of sad. Most of them actually come out like whoosh. But this one's like, get more whoosh. There, that already helps. And more from this back side. Coming up like this. And that's looking more pine-like. And I just want a few more coming down like this in the background. Okay, how's that looking? So I'm going to add a few more tail fluff lines. Because now that I've erased a lot here for these pine needles, this little bare spot is a lot more noticeable. I don't want to get confused by my own sketch. And there are some other little features, dots and stuff on this branch. Since we're so close up to it, I want to get some of these so that it looks more realistic. Ooh, I looked away for a second and I lost my spot. I think that means this area should be done. It's so complicated that I can't take my eyes off of it. I think that looks pretty good though. Yeah, putting these on too. I mean, once the color is on, you'll really be able to tell the difference, but putting these little dots on here really helps it look like a branch rather than a needle. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here for today. Got the whole outside of the nest done. Decided that I don't even need to draw the inside of the nest yet, because I'll just do that with the Inktense pencils once I'm on the coloring stage. I got one section of pine added. So tomorrow I'll come back and make some more progress. Thank you for watching.